My name is Jane Velez-Mitchell, and I am now taking the Dominion Challenge to watch the film Dominion, which shows the reality of what's happening on factory farms around the world. It's difficult to watch, but as Tolstoy said, when we see suffering, we have a moral obligation not to turn away, not to pretend it's not happening, but to look, to get closer and see the reality and help if we can. And even if we can't help, to bear witness. So the Save movement began the Bear Witness global campaign that is now occurring at slaughterhouses around the world. This film shows the reality, and I am specifically challenging all the writers and editors and executives at the New York Times to watch Dominion. That is my challenge. Recently, they did an article entitled, "Is Dairy Farming Cruel to Cows?" And the article, in my opinion, was a rationalization, justification, and a minimizing of the obvious cruelty of dairy farming. So those journalists have a moral obligation to look at the truth. I challenge them, the editors, all the way down to the reporters and everybody associated with the New York Times, to watch Dominion. And now I'm going to hit play. All right, this video may be inappropriate for some users. I understand in which to proceed. The images contained in this film are not isolated cases. All material, unless stated otherwise, was filmed.
Most people consider themselves animal lovers. We recognize them not as objects, but as complex beings with whom we share the planet, our lives, our homes. We take pleasure from their pleasure. We anguish over their pain, celebrating their intelligence and individuality as we welcome them into our families or revere them in their natural element. The thought of unnecessarily causing them harm or suffering is to many unbearable. So for those who feed, clothe, or entertain us, we choose to follow a narrative that minimizes or altogether eliminates their suffering. The picturesque family farm and the iconic loving farmer. A humane and painless end, a small price happily paid for a life well lived. An arrangement of mutual benefit. Hidden by this narrative, out of sight, out of mind, they cease to be individuals.
Take the Dominion Challenge.
Faceless units of production in a system of incomprehensible scale, exempt from the cruelty laws that protect our companion animals.
Take the Dominion Challenge.
Suffering, unseen and unheard, their value determined only by their usefulness to humankind, rationalized by a belief in our own superiority and the notion that might equals right, a notion that must be questioned.
Aussie Farms presents factory farming. Shout out to the courageous filmmakers. Imagine how hard it is to make this film when it's so hard to even watch. We're in a pandemic because we abuse animals. It's time for the human race to wake up. It's time to start challenging this. The essence of all evil is that some suffering doesn't count. We need to wake up as a human race or we will go extinct. Climate change, world hunger, pandemics, heart disease, cancer. When will the human race wake up? We're killing them, they're killing us. Dominion, watch it, New York Times. Watch it. Face the reality. Share out, please. Share out.
In the 1960s, there were around 50,000 pig farms in Australia. Today, there are less than 1,400, and yet the total number of pigs bred and slaughtered for food has increased. As of 2015, 49 farms housed 60% of the country's total pig population. Most pigs bred for food begin life in a farrowing crate, a small pen with a central cage, designed to allow the piglets to feed from their mother, the sow, while preventing her from moving around. The frequency of stillborn or mummified piglets generally increases with each litter as the sows' bodies become less capable of handling the large litter sizes encouraged by the industry. Alive won't make it until weaning age, succumbing to disease.
I'm turning the camera on myself because
or being accidentally crushed by their trapped mothers.
It's just too horrible. It's too horrible. What the bleep are we doing? I can't even look at this.
Included
Dear
in the
God.
death toll are the runts of the litter, who are considered economically unviable and killed by staff.
We are monsters. We are monsters. They're beating these piglets to death. We are just monsters. New York Times, watch this.
Those who survive the first few days are mutilated without pain relief.
I can't.
Their tails and teeth cut to reduce cannibalism. And pieces cut from their ears or tags punched in as a means of identification.
And right here, I have my dog who's on my lap, who's recently found out was blind, and he has to be with me all the time. And
5 months later.
he's whining because he's insecure because he's blind, and I do everything to help him. And these animals, these pigs, who are just like our dogs and cats except smarter.
Crowded together waste.
And the New York Times has the nerve to ask, is dairy farming and by extension is factory farming cruel? The willful blindness that it requires to ask that question. New York Times, I challenge you now, watch Dominion. I don't know how much more I can watch of this, because it's going to give me nightmares.
Some female pigs are kept on to replace the sows in the breeding cycle, carefully selected for their perceived ability to produce large litters. Most pig farms utilize artificial insemination rather than natural mating, as it allows them to impregnate up to 30 to 40 female pigs from a single boar. Workers collect the semen by masturbating boars, then insert it into the sows via a raised catheter known as a pork strip.
It makes me embarrassed to be a human being. That's what. It makes me embarrassed to be a member of the human race that we do this.
Boars are still physically used to excite the females prior to insemination, but are prevented from actually mating.
I don't know how much longer I can watch this. And the people who are forced to do all this are also being exploited. They don't have a choice.
The sow is moved into
They're the bottom rung of society. Often it's this or go hungry.
Sow stalls are individual cages in which, like the farrowing crates, sows are only able to take 1 or 2 steps forward or backwards and are unable to turn around.
I'll never forget the first time I saw a pig gestation crate and I said, this isn't possible. It's not possible that anybody would design this kind of torture system. And then I saw thousands of them in one, there, look, there. That's humanity.
Which actually allows up to 4 weeks in them per pregnancy.
Look at this.
When given the choice, pigs will relieve themselves.
Anyone who eats bacon is supporting this. Ugh.
The extreme confinement takes a heavy psychological toll.
They go mad, yes.
The alternative, group housing, sees pregnant pigs packed into small concrete pens.
Take the Dominion Challenge.
Space and stimuli can cause
share this out. New York Times, I respectfully challenge you to look at the reality of modern day industrialized animal agriculture and do your job. Report the reality. Report the facts. Yes, I know you have a food section and they want to do their pork recipes, even though on the same page, you're talking about climate change and the impact animal agriculture is having on climate change, and you're still promoting pork and turkey. Guess what? Time's up. Time's up. You have to face the reality.
She'll develop pressure sores from the hard surfaces.
We are going to go extinct. Think about it. The pandemics. Right now, there are reports of a swine flu pandemic in China. Swine flu, it's jumped from pigs to humans. There's a bird flu outbreak in England. The next pandemic could be worse.
Preventing her from reaching the food and water at the front of her.
We have to be rational about this. This is destroying our world. Habitat destruction, wildlife extinction, human world hunger because these animals eat so much more than they produce as food. I'm sorry, honey. My dog is upset.
Piglets fall ill and die.
And I'm upset. Did I want to do this? No.
Or get mutilated and abused by workers.
But the least we can do is bear witness when these animals are suffering so much. I know, honey. My dog is blind, my beautiful older dog, Cabo. And he's excitable and he gets upset.
4 times over 2 years
so,
before she's replaced.
look at this, look at this, look at this. I mean, oh my God. Oh, yeah. I can't watch anymore. I'm sorry, I can't watch anymore. It's too violent, it's too awful. I don't want to give myself nightmares right now. And my dog is getting upset because my dog obviously mirrors my emotions. And I have to have him here. But I challenge you, share this out. Share this out. Join the Animal Save movement. Watch Dominion. Every time you make a vegan meal, post it. We boycott meat. Thank you, Tom. We have the momentum. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to wake up because the young kids aren't watching television and getting those commercials that subliminally associate eating animals with everything from patriotism to sex appeal to family values and all that manipulation. They're going on to YouTube and they're seeing the reality. The reality that the mainstream media systematically ignores. So my Dominion challenge is to the media, to the New York Times specifically, the best and the brightest, which was a sarcastic title. The best and the brightest brought us the Vietnam War. The best and the brightest need to start looking at the truth, taking their blinders off, and reporting it. Jane Velez-Mitchell, reporting from Los Angeles. And I want to thank the Animal Save Movement and Anita Krines for doing the work, and the makers of Dominion, the heroic work makers of Dominion, who must have endured untold nightmares gathering this footage and editing it together. I want to applaud them. If they have the courage to shoot this and edit it and put it out there, we should have the courage to watch it. Thank you. Let's all go vegan in 2021. How about that?